welcome back to the Retro Review. I am the Bearded Geek. Joining me as always is Mikey the Freak.
What's up?
And Bebo. Today we will be doing the movie Over the Top. That's right. If you don't know about Over the Top, it is the Sylvester Stallone classic movie from 1987. This is a tough trucker. Lincoln Hawk is determined to win back his son in triumph at the World Arm Wrestling Championship. There's a little bit more involved in that. Basically, Lincoln Hawk is picking up his son from military school after a 10-year absence from his life. He is going to drive this child across country in his semi-truck per the sick mom's request. The sick mom is having some sort of they don't really explain the exact complication, but it is a heart complication. Lincoln Hawk has not been in touch with, well, he's tried to be in touch with his son for 10 years, but for 10 years there's been no communication because the grandfather has basically seized all communication with them. So he's trying to build up a communication with his son, build up the relationship, all the while working towards the arm wrestling championships in Vegas. This was a movie, man.
What?
Yeah, it was a movie. I mean, it had Sylvester Stallone because 90 some odd percent of his movies are patriotic or have some sort of patriotism in it, whether it be Rocky and the American flag trunks, or he's a cop or ex-military in just about, most of his
every movie.
Yeah. But this is different because he's a truck driver, and it's an old beat up truck that they're going across the country. And the reason we turned our hats backward, if you have not seen this movie, is because that is how he flips a switch and gets into work mode with his arm wrestling. It's time to go to business when he turns that switch. Yeah. It's a fun movie in my opinion. I without getting into too much detail on my full rating of this movie, I thought that this movie exemplified that the boy was not wanting to go with his dad because he don't know his dad. He was a bit whiny in the movie, but I get it because he had no contact with his dad. It was like he don't know why his dad left him to begin with, and they never really described why his dad left, why Sylvester Stallone's character left. Which there's a lot of plot holes in this movie, but it still pushes through. It trucks on through. Haha.
Love it.
But without giving my rating on it, I thought this was a pretty good movie. Mikey, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Yeah. So this movie, it not a tearjerker, but it pulls on some heartstrings personally. My dad was a long distance truck driver. So every single week he would go back and forth from here to Chicago, which is a 24-hour drive. If y'all don't know, from Florida to Chicago. So I've only traveled with him a few times. One time I was about the same age as Mikey. I was a lot younger, of course, but I think maybe 8 or 9 years old. But what the cool thing is we spent so much time talking, and the one-on-one time that I had with my dad, going from spending that time to go up there, was something you don't get back. So I couldn't really understand his say the how he feels in the movie. But you can understand if you haven't seen somebody, you haven't seen his dad. This guy claims to be his dad after 10 years, and you're going, this guy is a rich, preppy kid it looked like from Bel Air area. of California, and he sees he has a limo waiting for him when he gets out of military academy, and he sees this like, okay, this is my dad, and we're going in that, which is the beat up piece of shit truck, semi truck, with no sleeper. This is the 80s. So my dad didn't have a sleeper in the 80s either. But he, when I drove with him, I wasn't going with him unless I can sleep in the back while he drives. So a sleeper cab was very important for long distance for long distance truck drivers. They stopped at rest areas, but it was a security thing that they'd stay in their truck. You can't afford like hotel rooms and stuff like that. So that was their way of life. So sleeping on your kid's shoulder, I thought was like, yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. But I could see that happen back in the 80s. So I could relate to that. But the bond that they form from the beginning to the end of the movie is epic. That's a very good father-son relationship to where he makes the comment, Mikey makes the comment, you're really going to think you're going to make up 10 years in 2 days? And they do. So that, whatever Lincoln Hawk decided to do, whether it was to show him his world of arm wrestling, to arm wrestle that punk kid on the pinball machine,
right?
Just to make a bet, that 2 out of 3 type thing. I thought he kind of pushed him a little bit to be like, okay, this is my world, but I want you to see how I feel in it.
But it was also
And
like a little life lesson as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was embarrassed. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he lost, and he didn't really grow up doing a lot of stuff for himself. I mean, when you're rich like that, I mean, everybody does shit for you. So, to have that sense of competition that he's probably never felt before, other than maybe a military cadet competition in school, but to have that losing feeling crushed him. He was embarrassed and started crying like a little bitch. So it's it was like he's like, Mikey, you got to get back in there. It's 2 out of 3. You can't quit now. So it kind of teaches that life lessons, and whether you lose and the first time, you never give up. They say never give up, never surrender. That was a different movie, but you want to make you want to make sure some people understand that and get it. So it was 2 out of 3. So he comes in there. Holy shit! The kid turns his fucking hat backwards, and now he's strong as Sylvester Stallone. It's like, holy shit! It's like, look, I'm a weak little punk bitch. Oh, look at this! Look at this! I feel like I can bench press a Buick. So it, so, it's just by turning your hat backwards, boys and girls, does not make you fucking stronger. But it was a mental thing. Turning your hat backwards is like, okay, I'm focused. I'm concentrated on what I have to do in front of me. I'm going to kick his ass. So that's kind of that self, I don't know, almost a self motivational and self-driven type thing that you have to do to kind of boost that up. But but the relationship at the end becomes just one of those you can't take back from your father, and just to watch the movie play out, and I think the movie focused a lot on that situation. You have the arm wrestling, which was cool competition. That was kind of Lincoln Hawk's world. And then you have the relationship with his mother, his grandfather. I thought that was a cool understanding. So there was so much shit going on, like with responsibilities and relationships, and this is what I have to do, and then the competition, and it towards the end it was all over the place. You didn't know what to focus on, but the ending, the kid getting back to him and trying to go back and realizing that you want to be with your father is more memorable than wanting to stay with his grandfather, because he realizes his grandfather was an asshole, straight up asshole, and tried to keep them apart. So that was the relationship aspect of it.
Right.
I thought was the entire cool thing through the movie. And then some of the scenes were interesting. The chase scene where he gets kidnapped was kind of
Nobody
fun.
called the cops on that. I mean, really?
No, you hear the
Not in the
cops
80s,
coming.
no.
What's funny is you hear the cops coming, and you're like, he drove that fucking semi like it was a Ferrari.
He did.
Like that shit was fast. And he
there was no trailer on it. It was Bob telling. So
Oh,
I mean,
that's right. It wasn't 80,000 pounds. It was good. But you know, to crash into all those cars that used car a lot was you hear the cops coming and it looks like he's like, hey Mikey, like I think we need to get out of here. Like, you're about to leave the scene of an accident. Where the fuck are you going?
You had all the garage. You got the mechanics out there in their little jumpsuit, just standing around like, what's going on? What's going on? Not one of them came up and be like, hey, who's going to pay for this damage?
Yeah, the real world didn't exist when you had a semi barreling down the damn road chasing somebody.
It's cool you got your kid back and everything, but yeah, you just busted through a fence and hit this car. Just saying.
Somebody gonna pay for some shit. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, so that was the high points and low points of the movie, and the fun scenes that I know that whoever's watching this will enjoy it. You'll definitely tell that it was from '87 because there was very little to no cinematography. I guess there was cinematography, I guess you could say, but special effects, little to no special effects in this movie at all. Mostly shot in Vegas, so very real. It was a real movie. I guess that's how you say. The guy breaking his arm, I got to pull that up because that was one scene that no matter how many times you watch this movie, you're like, ooh, I bet that fucking hurt. Yeah. Like you just see his arm just go, like, and he screams, and you're just like, oh, that was genuine. That actually happened. I don't think that was no green screen.
All right.
But yeah. So Bevo, so what are your favorite parts of the movie?
I didn't watch it.
Okay. So what are the highlights? What do you like about Sylvester Stallone?
No, the movie I remember from when I was younger and stuff, and I always liked the movie. It always reminded me of your dad because he was like the only truck driver I actually knew.
Right.
I thought the movie itself was good. It's basically a redemption movie. The dad hasn't been in the kid's life. The kid thinks that the dad just abandoned him for no reason. They didn't really touch on why he left. You get a little bit of a
just because.
Well, you get there's one scene where he tells the grandfather at one point that you were
splitting us apart.
Yeah, you were splitting us apart. And you can tell throughout the entire movie that the dad thought that Sylvester Stallone was never good enough for his daughter.
Right.
He ended up leaving. But the thing I liked about it is Sylvester Stallone never like tried to excuse it. He admitted every time that, it was a mistake and he was sorry. You find out that he's been he's been writing letters to his kid the entire time, but the kid never got the letters. His mom had kept on to him, but his mom did keep in touch via letter with Sylvester Stallone's character. And they're trying to make it to his mom or to the mom. But when they get there, you find out that the surgery she was supposed to be having, which you find out very crappily in a way, is that it is a heart thing. It's supposed to be heart surgery, but she unfortunately passed on the table. Made the kid real angry, kind of blamed Sylvester Stallone for that because, had he just been able to go to his grandfather, he'd have been there the entire time. He could have gotten to say goodbye and stuff. And it's just, creates more drama. But then the kid finds the letters from his dad, and then wants to go be with him. My favorite part of the movie is the fact that at one point, Sylvester Stallone gets aggravated with the kid always trying to tell him that he's wrong about stuff or that he shouldn't be doing stuff. And he pulls the truck over and he goes, all right, smart guy, you drive.
Yeah.
It's be real simple for you. And the next thing you know, the kid's driving a semi, which also proves it's the 80s.
Very true.
Yes, because
Very
you
true.
cannot shift the gears and reach the fucking pedals. I tried. When I was his age, I tried. It is very difficult to shift 14 gears. And that one could have been an 11 gear truck. My dad had 14 gears, and it's like a damn puzzle. It's up, left, over, down, push the button down. Now it's up, left, over, up, down. Transmission was absolutely crazy. There's no way he could have drove that truck at his age.
You know what?
Yeah, my favorite
Absolutely
thing
not.
was when I first looked at when I got in and first looked at the console and the dashboard in a semi truck. I was like, what the hell is all this shit for?
So many buttons.
Yeah, there's so many buttons. What's this gauge for? What's
It's an
this do?
X-wing fighter.
Yeah,
You know,
I want to stop right now and just give props to every trucker right now.
Yeah.
Oh
You know,
yes,
every
absolutely.
trucker.
Absolutely.
Want to stop and just give props to them.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Continue, Bebo. Sorry about that.
But the movie itself, it's got the thing that I probably like most about it is, even though it was the ending was truly about was the big arm wrestling finale.
Mhm.
The arm wrestling part didn't happen till the end, except for the 2 times, one where he arm wrestled in a bar,
Mhm.
and then one where the kid arm wrestled the little punk.
Mhm.
But it wasn't like all about arm wrestling throughout the entire thing. The majority of the movie was the father trying to
It was definitely
reconnect with his son.
It was definitely more of a drama than it was a sports movie. Yeah,
absolutely. Or even an action. Even the action didn't really happen till towards the end. Not so much the arm wrestling action, but just fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah, the relationship building was huge.
Yeah,
in there.
And I mean, it's I liked it. That part of it, kind of, the just heartwarming type drama part of it was good. It definitely wasn't one of his bigger, well-known movies for Stallone.
Definitely.
Most people are like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that movie. It's not like things like Rocky where people have seen 3,000 million times.
Well, there's 6 of them bitches.
Yeah. Well, whenever he went outside to give his son the speech, he kept waiting for Rocky's speech. It's about how hard you get knocked down and get back up, and I'm just like, oh god. But it was a good movie. What I loved is in the arm wrestling competition at the end, I felt like the majority of the guys there were bigger than Stallone, and I'm like, how the hell is he beating him?
They probably were.
Yeah.
They were massive.
And I'm just sitting here, I'm watching this, and I'm like, yeah, he would not have won this.
Yeah, no.
But he was the only one who knew how to get that leverage to do the
over the top.
Well, what I thought was funny is throughout it, whenever he's teaching, his son how to do it, whenever you see him have done it, before, he just does a real quick reach up and grab, and then in the final one, he opens his hand completely, and then redoes it over the thumb, and then takes him down.
It's the dramatic. You had to have it for the dramatics.
Yeah, they needed that extra 3 seconds of runtime.
Boom, done.
But I would definitely like to say the most underrated character in the movie is the semi truck, but most importantly, the hawk on the front of it. Since Stallone's character's name was Lincoln Hawk, he had an actual hawk as the emblem on the front of the truck. So, and I like that at the end of the movie, he put it on the new truck that he ended up getting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's that symbol of who he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and take over now. I'm gonna give my rating. I thought that this movie actually had a lot of heart in it. There was some things that probably should have been recapped or maybe explained a little bit more, but I thought this movie had a great flow to it. It showed the day in the life basically of a truck driver, You know, he started off bobtailing. He had to pick up a load. He had to take it to wherever he was going. And it showed, you know, sleeping on the side of the road. You know, it didn't show how, you know, maybe they peed in gallon jugs or something on the way there.
How did I go to the bathroom? Well,
but I
gotta go as you drive.
that's right. You know, it had a good flow. I like that they kept. Yeah, you see what I did.
That was so bad.
We just lost 4 viewers on that one.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's okay. But it all connected very well. I like how the arm wrestling thing, you know, you had the little bits of the little hints of what was to come, and then at the very end, you know, you had the big arm wrestling extravaganza, and the, you know, it's the heartwarming moment when the son actually chooses his father, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a 7.5. I would recommend this to people. I think this is one of Sylvester Stallone's most underrated movie that he's in, because I believe it's better than some of his Rockies, to tell you the truth.
Especially 4.
Yeah, but I give it a 7.5. How about you, Mikey? What do you get?
Yeah, I'm still going with the emotional roller coaster for the son, kind of not understanding like who his father is, and not knowing who he is, spending that time with him and really shutting him down at the beginning, and then towards the end realizing that, you know, he actually does love his son, and he was trying to communicate. He was still trying to be a father, even though the grandfather was shutting him out of the life. So seeing that, you know, shut down at the beginning to really opening up and wanting to be with Sylvester Stallone and be with his father, it's strong. It's a strong part of the movie. And you know, the arm wrestling was kind of cool, just to kind of see that world. And arm wrestling events do happen. It is a huge thing in Vegas. It's been a while, you know, with the COVID thing, probably not. Probably not as much.
Shh, don't say the C
right
word.
now. Oh shit, yeah. But anyway, so but it is a huge event, and they do have these kind of things in Vegas and regionals and so forth. But yeah, you really don't glimpse it early in the movie. You kind of understand, like, he's a big person in the arm wrestling world. And to go to Vegas for this big event kind of solidifies like who that character is, with the Lincoln Hawk. And then at the end, to see that he actually won the truck and all the money, and he opens up his own business, Hawk and Sons. It's kind of cool. So it starts from the beginning of you know, not really knowing this, you know, the father son relationship, building up until the end. So and it kind of rounds out the movie.
Gotcha.
So I would say I would definitely recommend the movie to people, and I do agree, definitely underrated Sylvester Stallone movie. He does have some other movies that are not so good, but it's underrated. He's either, you have Rocky, Rambo, and then you have over the top Cobra and Oscar. There's, you know, so there's good movies out there, and then there's underrated movies, but they're still good.
Don't forget,
that
Don't
over the
Stop
top
or
is,
My Mom Will Shoot.
yeah. Well, Estelle Getty made that movie, so I don't know if that's really Sylvester Stallone. But yeah, I would give it a 7, but a solid 7, just because it's definitely. I don't think it's a movie that kids would watch nowadays, but it's more of those nostalgic movies that you could sit down and watch it when it comes on. And I can't remember the song, but the soundtrack is cool. I do like the slow tempoed songs that are in the movie, so I think the songs are good too. So a solid 7 is cool.
Cool. Bebo, how about you, man? What would you rate it?
I agree. It's definitely one of his lesser known works, but it's definitely underrated for one of his works. I I like the story in general. Like I said, it's kind of a redemption story. I would probably give it somewhere between a 7.5 to an 8. I really like the movie. It is something I would recommend to people. And it's not just an action movie. It's got like the storyline itself I thought was good. For the redemption story that it was. So with that, the nostalgic always reminded me of Mikey's dad. Because I used to love whenever we'd go to a family function, your dad would show up because he was just getting home or something, but he'd show up in his truck.
Yeah.
I remember you always asking, can I go see it? And then going inside and being like, there are way too many things in here for me to ever want to become a truck driver. I can barely
too
drive.
Many buttons.
I can barely drive normal vehicles. And here I am looking at this thing like, there's so many things. Most of my time on the road in a semi truck would be doing this, but now that scenery, it's looking at all the gauges and shit I got to try and keep an eye on.
One of the original push button vehicles.
Right.
Yeah.
A semi.
But I just like the movie overall. We've said it before. It is an underrated movie. I love the redemption story, and I think one of my favorite things about it, for it being a Stallone movie, is it's not all action. Most of his movies, a lot of action packs, a lot of big scenes and stuff. This, you don't really have much action in it till towards the very end. So
even then, it's arm wrestling. It's a lot of standing around and doing this.
Yeah, and most of it for the arm wrestling, the matches themselves don't last long. They're very quick.
Right.
A lot of the arm wrestling stuff was just the hype talk before they, grab each other's hands and actually do actually start the match itself. So that's my rating on it.
Awesome. Beba, do you have any trivia or
so I have a couple things here. So Sylvester Stallone was reportedly very unhappy with the final film itself. In an interview with Ain't It Cool News, he actually said that if he directed the film, he would have changed the setting to an urban environment, used scored music instead of rock songs, and made the Las Vegas finale more ominous. Years later, after the movie, he actually explained why he even agreed to appear in the movie. He said Mannheim Golan kept offering him more and more money until he finally thought, what the hell, no one will see it.
Not many people.
Yeah. Now, the guy who played his rival in the movie, where you see at one point during the first arm wrestling match that he does in the bar or the stop where they were stopping to eat. His name in real life is Rick Zumwalt. He was paid $10,000 to shave his head for the film, and he liked it so much he never let his hair grow back. He was actually the studio's third choice to play Stallone's rival. They originally wanted the actual arm wrestling champion, Cleve Dean, but he was so massive compared to Stallone that it wouldn't have looked believable. So they went with professional wrestler Ox Baker, but then when Baker didn't pan out, the role went to Zumwalt. And when I first read that, I'm like, Zumwalt doesn't look like he's Stallone's size. He was way bigger. He didn't look right either.
Size. He
didn't look right either.
How big was the arm wrestling champion then? Oh my God.
I know. So what I thought was one of the things I thought was funny that when I was trying to find trivia facts is this was an inside joke, and I never thought of it. Anytime I've ever watched this movie, it's never crossed my mind. As an inside joke, the writers named David Mendenhall's character, which was the son, Michael. His father's last name in the movie was Hawk, so his name is Mike Hawk.
Oh my god.
Is that why it says Mikey a lot and doesn't say
Yeah,
Mikey?
that's why he always says Michael and not Mike. Usually.
Oh my god, my
Oh.
cock.
And I
That's
read that, and I was
hilarious.
just like, I never put that together. Watching the movie, it
You
never
never
crossed
put
my
my
mind.
cock together.
My cock.
No.
The truck that he drove was a 67 autocar model A64, and 3 trucks were purchased from a local logging company to use as his vehicle. And I'm sure they had to do that because he rams into the vehicles at the one location, the used vehicles, and then towards the end when he breaks through the gate at the grandfather's place and hits all the statues and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me see here. The truck actually appears in the '89 movie The Wizard. The first appearance says Hawk Trucking on the driver door, and a few minutes later, the passenger door has a white sign with a different name on it in the movie, which I thought was kind of weird.
The Wizard's another underrated movie.
Yeah, it is. The other thing I thought was interesting in regards to people not liking the movie and stuff like that is David Engelbach, who was the writer who wrote the original script for the movie, was appalled at the changes made to his script. He recalled having tears in his eyes when he saw the film and remarked that the original draft wasn't nearly as dumb as the final film, and that it was more about truck driving and arm wrestling than it should have been. And, I read that, but when you watch the movie, I don't feel like it is a lot about the arm wrestling or truck driving. It's mostly about the redemption story of the dad trying to,
that's what I got from it anyway. Yeah.
Trying to make the reconnection with the son throughout the entire thing. So, but that was just a few of the things I had.
And now I could see that if they spent too much time, like watching him, videoing him driving down the damn road with the truck, or too much time in Vegas at the arm wrestling championship.
Yeah.
But I completely disagree with that. I see more of the redemption. That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
The redemption story with Lincoln Hawk, and then the father-son relationship and the bonding.
Because even a lot of the stuff that happens while he's in Vegas, if it's not the arm wrestling match, it's still him
bonding with his
trying to connect with his son, trying to deal with the grandfather and stuff like that. So I didn't really see that what that was talking about, but overall, I love this movie. It's definitely something I enjoyed. But that was the facts I liked, especially the Mike Hawk.
I bet you.
Well, I definitely enjoy Mike Hawk.
I bet you do.
Now it's everyone's favorite part of the episode is back to the retro memorabilia.
Now, before you go into this too,
okay.
So it is a fun fact. The stuff that you're about to say, the movie had its own toy line.
Yes.
So that is a fact that the movie had its own toy line, and it did not last very long.
Not long at all.
So when you read this, realize that the prices that you're going to say, you probably can't find them for that price either, because I'm sure they're going to be a lot more in better condition.
Maybe, but I am getting this off of eBay, so
yes,
you may be able to get these items. I have 5 items. Items number 1 is a Sylvester Stallone vinyl LP with Obi Over the Top Picture Disc Limited Edition. You can pick that up for a cool $90.
That's cheap.
It is cheap.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get my wallet.
The 1986 arm wrestling table over the top. Luco is the name of the toy line. It is $160.
How you spell that?
Luco, Lewco.
Okay.
Lewco.
Buy it now.
Item number 3, a Sylvester Stallone 16-inch Lincoln Hawks over the top Luco figure for $259 and 77
Dude, that's
cents.
big. I mean, because you think 6 inches, right? And it was how big?
16.
16 inches. That's huge. I
Yeah,
don't want nothing of
that's
Sylvester Stallone that's 16
That's
inches.
G.I. Joe size, I believe. You could also pick up a vintage 1986 Luco over-the-top arm wrestling table, like not a full size, but like a kid size table for kids to arm wrestle on for $549.99.
And that probably wasn't dangerous at all.
No, you couldn't break anybody's
Come with
arm.
a huge warning label.
Couldn't
Your
break it.
arm may break.
Yeah. The fifth item I have, the last item, is a over-the-top Stallone 10 by 13 foot giant original vintage movie poster from 1987 for $1,889.
it's
You
too
said
much,
10
but that would
10
be kind of
foot?
cool.
It's
10 foot by 13 foot?
yeah, you can tent a house with it.
Fucking shit. That's a tarp, bro. Jeez almighty. It's probably one of those big billboard signs that you put on the
Yeah.
you see on the side of the road. That would make sense.
Going down the highway, yeah.
Jesus.
All right, everybody. If you enjoyed this movie, leave a comment. Tell us if you've seen this movie. Tell us what was your favorite things in the movie. Hit that like button. Give it a thumbing. Hit the bell. Subscribe. All the good stuff YouTubers tell you to do. So, for Mikey the Freak and Tebow, I am the Bearded Geek. Saying keep it retro, everybody.
See ya.
Peace out.